وسلم. اللهم اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. آمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hello and welcome. In this video, inshallah, I'd like to talk a little bit about a serious topic which is really at the core of Islam, and yet unfortunately is not really given the attention that it deserves. The topic I'm referring to is the bay'ah, or what is called the pledge of allegiance. I will focus on this topic in terms of tasawwuf. So the importance and necessity of the bay'ah is really derived directly from Quran and Sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith that is related by Imam Muslim, everyone dies without having sworn allegiance, he will die a pre-Islamic death, which means that like if he dies in Jahiliyyah. So I think this hadith is much enough to demonstrate the importance of bay'ah to every Muslim. Someone may ask why Islam concerns that much about bay'ah. To answer this question, we have to refer to Quran, particularly when Allah says, those who have pledged allegiance to you, they are actually pledging allegiance to Allah. The hand of Allah is above their hands. So he who breaks his word only breaks it to his own detriment, and he who fulfills that which he has promised Allah, he will give him a great reward. This verse reveals that the bay'ah is so important because it represents the pledge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which means that when a person makes bay'ah with a shaykh, he actually makes it with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in what case can be considered a bay'ah with a person as the same as it is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Because it's something sublime and mighty. Not any bay'ah could have such high degree. So to clear this point up, we have to return to Hadith al-Waliy, which is, by the way, and because of its importance, was taken by Imam Nawawi to be in his collection of 40 hadiths that gather in the essential foundations of Islam. And Imam Shawkani devoted an entire book only to explain this hadith. The book is called Qatrul Waliy ala Hadithi al-Waliy. So the part of the hadith that interests us is this. And my servant keeps coming on closer to me through performing nawafil till I love him. When I love him, I becomes his hearing with which he hears, his seeing with which he sees, and his hand with which he strikes, and his leg with which he walks. So this hadith shows us that the possibility of making bay'ah with a man can be as the same as making bay'ah with Allah, only if that man is the wali of Allah, who has been brought closer to the point that Allah becomes his hearing, his seeing, his hand and his leg, as it is aforementioned in the hadith. Of course, it is unquestionably that our Prophet ﷺ had reached this degree, because our prophets unnecessarily have to be saints, have to be awliya, but the reverse is not always true. Actually, the wilayah of our Prophet ﷺ had described in Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and you threw not when you threw, but it was Allah who threw. So this verse describes precisely the part of the hadith that says the hand and becomes the hand with which he strikes. In other words, the bay'ah could be made with Allah only if it is passed through a wali of Allah, who is actually and completely realized the maqam, the grade of al-wilaya. But if the sheikh is not a wali, then bay'ah with him would be only a pact with a man like any other man, and in no case may it be considered as bay'ah with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the question that arises here is, in light of what is happening in tasawwuf nowadays, where everyone claims that he is the great master and the great sheikh, because there are many charlatans out there who manipulate people by convincing them that they are true shuyukh of tarbiyah and so on. And the truth is not, of course. How a person or how a seeker of knowledge can find out the real wali? How is it possible for him to distinguish between the sheikh who is permitted to teach knowledge and the sheikh of tabarruk who has nothing to do with knowledge of Allah? So we need some criterion and features to be able to distinguish between the one who guides you to Allah and the one who just deludes you in awrad. Stay there and keep saying like thousands of awrad with no results, no fruits in the end. Certainly we cannot deny that there is much khair, there is much goodness in that too, but it's not the right way to take you to knowledge of Allah, which is the central purpose of our being. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. And I didn't create the jinn and mankind except to worship me. And Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala explained to worship me as to know me. And to know Allah means here in this life and in this body. So this is the primary reason of our journey in life. We are created to know our Lord. There is a famous hadith that says, hadith Qudsi of course, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I was a hidden treasure, I wanted to be known, so I created the creation, and through me they knew me. So this hadith shows that the central purpose of our being is to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the only reason we make bay'ah for is to know or to attain the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because if it was just about awrad, then there would be no need to follow a sheikh in the first place. We can do awrad with no need to wasita. We can say as much as we want of astaghfirullah, of la ilaha illallah. Why would we need a sheikh for that? But what we cannot do without wasita is the knowing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because knowledge acquires the means. Even the best creation of creation, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, had learned through the wasita of Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ar-Rahmanu fas'al bihi khabira. The most merciful, so ask about him who is well informed. Not anybody, but who is well informed. So it is definitely that the bay'ah is not about reciting awrad as much as it is about attaining the knowledge of Allah. Ibn Ata'Allah al-Iskandari in one of his hikam said, the one who guided you to dunya cheated you, and the one who guided you to awrad exhausted you, but the one who guided you to Allah advised you. And the Prophet ﷺ said, a reflection for one moment is better than 70 years of worship. So 70 years is the average age of this ummah. Average age of this ummah is between 60 and 70, which means you can spend your whole life do awrad and worship, and yet one moment of knowledge of Allah is better than all of those years. So in fact, our Prophet ﷺ gives us some clues to distinguish between the authentic bay'ah with a true wali who is well informed about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and between the one who just exhausting us by awrad. One of those clues is this remarkable verse that gives us a specific description of wali. It's like a definition of the wali. The verse says, Allah is the wali of those who have faith. He brings them out of darkness into the light. So the definition of the wali is the one whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala illuminates his heart and brings him out of darkness of ignorance into the light of knowledge. So in order to know in order to determine if the shaykh is a wali of Allah, it is enough to see when a disciple makes bay'ah with him, is his heart illuminated or not. If it is, then it is a true bay'ah. It is a bay'ah that represents a bay'ah with Allah. If it isn't, then it is an invalid bay'ah and has nothing to do with the bay'ah that is mentioned in the verse. In Tariqa al-Karkariya, walhamdulillah, everyone makes bay'ah with Sidna Shaykh Sidi Muhammad Fawzi al-Karkari qaddasallahu sirra, witnesses the light of knowledge, the light of Iman shining in his heart. It is a strong sign that he is the truly wali who takes your hand and walks you through the path, the way to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and tells you, here you are with your Lord. Whenever he speaks, whenever you hear him speaking, he remembers you by Allah. Even a look at him remembers you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can see mashallah, the secrets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala coming out, overflowing from his tongue. Qaddasallahu sirra. So I think it's an easy experiment to figure out if the shaykh is a true wali or not. And it can be experienced by everyone. Just close your eyes and seclude your vision from the outer world and turn inward to your heart and look what you see there. Is there any light illuminating your heart or not? So for those who spend years and years looking for the knowledge of Allah with no sign, no result waving in the sight, I ask him, is it rational to stay with a doctor having the same prescription for years with no development? Is it logic to stay with a doctor like that, or you have to look for another doctor who can cure your illness? Of course, the answer is so obvious. In Tariqa al-Karkariya, we have some muridin who had been in different turuq, some of them for 20 years and some of them for 10 years, and they didn't even attain what Sidi Shaykh gives them or gave them in the first bay'ah. So my recommendation to everyone listening to this video and has a real intention to know God and to know his Lord and his Creator, to visit the Zawiya al-Karkariya even as an experiment, and I'm very sure, very certain that he won't turn back disappointed. And thank you for listening. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Wa subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.